Alright, again, I hope you're getting a good view here. I'm trying to bring everything to the front of the screen. Here's what you do with your avocados next. You just scrape to the very edge of the skin, including all that beautiful green. You see the yellow tone to the middle, and then it's green on the edges. Every bit of that is edible and delicious. Like I say, this is just a small batch of guacamole for my husband and I tonight are having tamales, a Mexican dinner. It is going to be a delicious treat, and this will make a good side dish. I often make it in larger batches too, though, so that we can have it as a dip with chips whenever we may have, say, tacos or burritos, or sometimes we just want dip and chips. All right. I'm going to come around to the other side of the camera and make sure y'all have been able to get a good view. I'll edge the bowl up a little closer. Now, you see I have a beautiful tomato. You know, you may have a tomato that has a small spot on one side. Just go to the other side if you had it in your kitchen for a day or two. This is a Slocum tomato from Slocum, Alabama. I swear they're the best tomatoes there are. And like I said before, just grating it into the bowl. It's hard to measure this way, but you just look at your amount and see that's probably about a teaspoon, maybe a little more. A teaspoon to a tablespoon is all you would want in a batch this size. Look how delicious and ripe that tomato is. This is going to be so good. All right. And then my onion, just peel away enough to make sure you don't get that onion paper, I call it. I guess that is the proper name for it. And then that first waxy layer of onion, getting rid of that. And then you just take that same grater, same flavors, and as I learn more about videoing, I'll probably figure out a way that I can watch my camera like a monitor while I'm doing it, instead of guessing and hoping I'm getting this for you. And that may be my second guacamole video. Again, you just look inside, see that you have anywhere from a teaspoon to a tablespoon onion to taste. Don't be afraid of a good old onion flavor. If you like a lot, get a lot. If you don't like so much, just use a little. Again, just for this preparation, I'm going to use my garlic powder. It's a little cheap, but sometimes it is better for control of how much garlic you have in there. All right. As I told you about chopping, be careful to follow the rules, because I did not follow the rules one time and had a bad little spell. And it was chopping cilantro, as a matter of fact. So what I'm going to do is cut me off a bunch that I'm going to chop into finer pieces. Again, the little curling finger technique really does work. I never would have gotten my fingertip chopped off if I had followed the rules. My first thought was, oh, well, I probably would have chopped my knuckle off. Not true. If the knife hits your knuckle, you might cut your skin some, but you're not going to chop your whole fingertip off like I did. This is really more than I'm going to need for this batch of guacamole, but I'm going to just go ahead and finish the chopping. See, this is the fingers completely out of the way technique. And again, I just probably want about a tablespoon. I'll show you what that looks like. All right, now I'm about ready to mix, but I am going to go get my salt and pepper, which I also didn't bring to the table. And you can always add more salt and pepper later, but you want to start out with some so that when you're mixing it with your potato masher, you get a good blend. And the lime, I'll just go ahead and add that as well. Just chopping it in half and a good squeeze. If you're freaky about seeds, you know, you can strain it through your fingers. Limes really don't have a lot of seeds that I've noticed, so I don't ever worry about them. Okay, and away we go. Now sometimes the avocados are a little too firm. You just keep mashing. They're gonna finally go down. And if they are still a bit chunky, you've just got a more textured guacamole. See, about halfway through, you're starting to see that it looks a little chunky, but it is breaking up. If you look closely, you can still see bits of the tomato, and so really the grating process didn't take away. But for more colorful guacamole, you may do finely chopped. And after you mash your guacamole, then stir it in gently. Normally I don't salt it very heavy at first, and that's because if we were going to eat it with chips, the chips have salt. Now, that, my friends, is homemade, fresh guacamole. At this point, you can chill it. It's better to serve as soon as possible because the avocados do discolor. You may come back tomorrow after you've made it and there's a brown layer on top. Don't be afraid. It's just oxidation. You can literally scrape that brown layer off, which is very thin, and you'll have this bright green underneath, still fresh and ready to eat. Thank you for joining me for this video, and as Julia Child would say, bon appetit!